If you're losing jobs to cheaper contractors, it's not your price. It's not that homeowners are cheap. It's not that you need to get better at selling. You have three trust problems, and until you solve those, homeowners cannot tell the difference between you and the cheapest guy. So they default to price. Here's what I mean. When someone gets a referral, three things have already happened. They know you exist, they know you're legit, and they understand why you're worth the money. But when you're running ads or buying leads, none of that is true. You're a stranger, they do not trust you, and they have no idea what makes you different from everyone else. I'm Spencer Wright, and I've helped over 100 home service contractors solve this by manufacturing trust before the sales call. Close rates go from 20% to 50, 60, even 80% without changing price or the sales process. And in this video, I'm going to show you the three trust problems that cause price objections and exactly how to solve each one so you stop losing to cheaper contractors for good. Let's talk about what's actually happening in the homeowner's head. When homeowners don't have a referral, they're terrified of getting burned. They've heard the horror stories, the contractor who disappeared with a deposit, the project that dragged on forever, and the "we'll get back to you next week" guy who never comes back. So when they need work done, but they don't have someone they trust, they collect multiple quotes, not because they're cheap, but because they're scared. And here's the real problem. They can't evaluate technical quality. They don't understand the difference between your process and your competitor's process. They don't know what's done right versus what's done fast, and they can't see what you see. So they default to the one thing they can easily compare: price. And that's where the three trust problems come in. Trust problem number one is this: they don't know you exist. With referrals, they already know your name, they've already seen your work, and their friend has already talked you up. With cold traffic, you're just another company name on a screen. Trust problem number two: they don't trust you yet. Referrals come with transferred trust, but with ads and bot leads, you're a stranger. They don't know if you're legit, if you show up, if you'll stand behind your work. Then that leads us to trust problem number three. They can't evaluate quality. When someone refers you, they already can explain why you're worth it, but cold leads don't have that context. They see your $25,000 bid versus someone else's $15,000 bid, and they have no idea what the difference is. So if you're losing to cheaper contractors, it's not because you're worse, it's because there are three trust problems that weren't solved before the appointment. And here's what most contractors get wrong. They think they can build all of that trust during the home visit, but Google's research makes it abundantly clear. It takes 7 hours of content consumption across 11 different touch points before a stranger becomes a buyer. You're trying to compress 7 hours into 60 minutes at the table. And that's why referrals close at 70 to 80% and cold leads close at 10 to 20%. Same homeowner, same problem. The only difference is trust. So the question is, how do you manufacture trust before the sales call? That's what we're going to do next. Trust problem number one is simple. They don't know you exist. So the solution is omnipresence, meaning you get in front of the right homeowners everywhere before they're ready to buy. And here's why that matters. Most home service contractors only start marketing when the busy season hits. That's backwards, because when the rush starts, you're in the auction with everybody else. Everyone's running ads, everyone's top rated, everyone's offering discounts. Smart contractors start in the off season, December, January, February, because homeowners aren't actively shopping yet, but the project is already in their head. Yeah, we need to replace those windows this year. Yeah, we should redo the patio this year. Oh, we should finally get that roof handled. We should finally redo our bathroom. We're doing something about this house this year. They're not on Google yet, guys. They're on Facebook and Instagram scrolling, and that's where you show up with content that stops their scroll. Quick before and afters, walkthrough videos, job site clips, customer testimonials, simple explainers that make homeowners think, oh, that is exactly what I need. Then when they click, you retarget them. So over the next 7 to 14 days, they see you 10, 15, 20 times and something shifts. You're not a stranger anymore. You feel familiar. That's the formula. Exposure, familiarity, trust, sales. Let me give you a real example. Jeff Herring, a veteran contractor in Michigan, he's used to having brutal winters. Historically, winter was so slow, his crews would literally slow down jobs just to stretch the work and stay employed. He'd been paying a big agency about $1,800 a month for SEO services and couldn't tie a single lead back to it. We flipped the approach. Instead of waiting for people to search, we started showing up before they were shopping. We targeted homeowners who had an obvious need, aging, worn down exterior stuff, the kind of projects that don't feel optional once you notice the problem. Within the first 10 days of this approach, leads started coming in so consistently in such a high volume that Jeff finally saw a path to keeping his guys busy year round. Within about 6 weeks, he had generated roughly $250,000 in new jobs and had his January calendar booked out solid in Michigan in the dead of winter. Same market, same pricing, same company. The only difference, homeowners saw him everywhere before they booked. So by the time they reached out, he didn't feel like a stranger. It felt like they were calling the guy they already knew. That's omnipresence. Don't wait for them to search. Get in front of them before they're shopping. Show up everywhere consistently. So when they're ready to book, you're not one of 5 quotes. You're the only call they want to make. Trust problem number 2. They don't trust you yet. The solution is authority content. And the keyword is show. Because every contractor says, we do great work at a fair price. Homeowners don't automatically believe that anymore. But when they see real customers and real homes talking about their real experience, when they see before and afters from houses like theirs, when they see you on a camera calmly explaining your process, that's when they believe, because you're showing proof. So after someone clicks your ad, retarget them for about 7 to 14 days with authority content, testimonials, case studies, process videos, frequently asked question videos. Here's what most homeowners don't know about fill in the blank videos. Here's what actually is happening psychologically when you do this. First time they see you, just another contractor. Second time they see you, I've seen this guy before. Third, fourth, fifth time, I feel like I kind of know this guy. By the 10th time, you feel like family, and the familiarity gets mistaken for trust. That's manufactured trust. One of my favorite examples of this is a contractor named Jason Flynn. Jason runs a high-ticket exterior company in Northern Virginia. And yes, they do a lot of composite outdoor projects, but the lesson here applies to any home service business. Jason was a professional skeptic. He had tried many agencies that promised him the world and delivered nothing. He was worried about keeping his crews busy, and when he saw our stuff, he didn't believe it out of the gate. So we didn't try to convince him with claims. We built a system that made homeowners trust him before he ever met them. When we ran the ads, then hit every click with authority content, proof, process, results, and sent them through a funnel that made them self-qualify and self-book, within 48 hours, Jason had his first booked appointment without chasing anyone down. And within a few weeks, his calendar went from scattered to 3 to 4 booked appointments per day. And that's what authority content does. It doesn't just generate leads, it makes the leads show up already trusting you. So you're not walking into the house trying to prove you're legit. You're walking into a homeowner who already believes you are. Trust problem number 3 is the one that causes the ugliest price objections. They can't easily evaluate quality, so they default to price because homeowners don't know what they don't know. They don't know what's behind the walls. They don't know the difference between a quick install and a correct install. They don't know permits, code, materials, warranty, longevity. They just see the finished thing and the number. So when you're $25,000 and the other guy is $15,000, they assume you're ripping them off. Not because they're cheap, but because they can't see the difference. So here's what changes everything. Educate them before the appointment through your ads, landing pages, email, and text follow-up. You teach them what actually matters, what to look for, what questions to ask, the red flags to avoid. And here's the key. You're not selling yet. You're teaching them how to be a smart buyer. Because the moment you educate someone, you earn trust. You position yourself naturally as the expert, not a commodity. And this is why we use long-form ad copy that explains value. We explain why quality matters, what goes into doing it right, and what homeowners don't see when they compare 2 prices. Then we send them through a qualification survey, not to be annoying, but to make them think, budget, scope, timeline, decision makers, all of it. And then we nurture emails and texts that keep educating, keep showing proof, keep answering objections before the homeowner ever says them out loud. So by the time you show up, they're not asking, why do you cost more? They're asking, when can you start? Let me give you the cleanest example of education changing the whole game. Mike Holst runs a construction company in Minnesota, and they do more than one thing. They're a legit home service operation. Mike had burned $27,000 with marketing companies that deliver nothing but spam calls. He literally would catch himself checking to make sure the phone number still worked. So we didn't just send him more leads, we changed what happened before the appointment. We built the education into the system, ads that pre-framed his value, landing pages that explain the difference between cheap and correct, an application that forces the homeowner to think through the budget and scope and automatically followed up teaching and building more certainty. So instead of price shoppers, Mike started getting educated homeowners who understood what they were buying. And here's the stat you need to hear. In the first 10 days, Mike booked 52 appointments, not leads, appointments. 52 homeowners raised their hand, got educated, and put time on his calendar. That's what happens when the system educates before you ever show up. You stop defending your price and you start having grown-up conversations with serious buyers. If you want this trust manufacturing system installed into your business instead of trying to build it all by yourself, book a call. The link is down below. We'll look at your market, figure out which trust problem is costing you the most jobs, and map out exactly how to fix it. I back everything I do with a guarantee, so there's literally zero risk on your end. So if you keep losing to cheaper contractors, stop trying to sell harder on the appointment. Fix the trust problems first before the appointment. Omnipresence so they know you exist, authority content so they trust you, education so they understand why you're worth more. When you do that, you stop showing up as one of the quotes. You show up as the obvious choice. So which of these 3 trust problems is costing you the most in jobs right now? Is it that homeowners don't know you exist, that they don't trust you yet, or that they just can't evaluate your quality? If you're not sure, or you know the problem, but you just don't know how to fix it yet, that's what we'll figure out on a call. I'll look at your market and show you exactly which trust problem to solve first and how to do it in the next 7 days. The link is in the description. And if this video helped, subscribe. I drop new videos like this every week on how to get more appointments, close more jobs, and stop competing on price.